we thought very deep, and we would like to bring back the essence of our sport. Aerobic gymnastics. It's not rhythmic, it's not artistic, it's aerobic gymnastics. Consecutive and clear AMP, we would like to see, and we want to see the identity of our sport using traditional aerobic steps with constant rebound and perform without choreographic jumps. Through the years, of course, we tried to make it better and a very beautiful discipline, and we included choreographic jumps from other disciplines, from ballet, and in this block, we don't want to see these choreographic jumps. In quantity as factor, we would like to see, and it's a requirement, we want to see 8 sequences or 9, 8 sequences for individual woman, individual man, 9 sequences because the length of the routine is bigger for mixed pair trio group, and for block, 3 consecutive sets for individuals and 4 consecutive sets for mixed pair trio group. In this criteria, quantity, if they don't have, instead of 9, they have 8 sets, you will have to judge with 0.2 less for each missing AMP. If they don't have a block, 0.5 missing. Pay attention, please. Quantity. We said we can judge this quantity with 0.5. If the block doesn't exist, and be careful when you will judge, mostly our routines doesn't have a block because was not a requirement before. So already 0.5 less in quantity, 0.5 less. So minimum AMP sets, 8 sets for individuals, 9 sets for mixed pair trio group, 1 block of 3 sets for individuals, 4 sets in 1 block for mixed pair trio group. So I think it's clear, if they don't have a block, you cannot go to 0.5 for quantity. You go to 0. So 0 for quantity. Now, not recommended in the block. We give you example. So even air jack. So these choreographic jumps are only examples, but we don't want to see in the block of 3 consecutive or 4 consecutive sequences. We give you now example for a block. So how to recognize this AMP block? You saw in the first example, I think I want to put it again. You can see even chassé, and you can see variations of some traditional aerobic steps. So when in this block, it is allowed to do a chassé. One more time. Here. So in the second examples, we used the same steps. Artistic judges will still give a block for these consecutive sequences, even if it is a little bit more high impact. And here, with really high impact and jump, we call a little jump, but it's a choreographic jump. We don't give a block for the same steps, but a different execution. This is a block. It was okay. So this is a clear block. This is still a block, but you can see a little higher the jumps, the steps, not the jumps, the steps. It's still a block and no block. So this depends on execution. So the 3 blocks were using the same steps. First and second, it's very good. The third one we will not recognize as a block. So AMP is the base of aerobic gymnastics. We would like to see a correct technique with leg movements, which will be combined with arms movements and which are essential. So combination of steps and arms movements, but with a correct technique. In variety, we would like to see all basic steps, not only repetition of jog, repetition of skip, repetition of even chassé. So AMP sequences, all basic steps during the routine to avoid similar type of movements. So no repetition, this includes in variety. Combination of basic steps and arm movements without repetition represents the style of the music. So we would like to see AMP, which represents the style of the music, not exactly the description from the Code of Points Appendix 3, because there are the correct technique of lunge, skip, jog, high leg kick, but then we have the music and we need the athletes to represent the style of the music. Then this will become AMP. AMP block, it will show the identity of our sport. We want to use a traditional aerobic step with rebound without repetitive combination. So we don't want to see 3 jumping jacks in one AMP, for example. We don't want to see knee lift 3 times the same in one unit from 1 to 8 without choreographic jumps. And we showed you example of choreographic jump. We want to see variety of sequences in order to avoid the monotonous, and we don't want them to be stationary, staying in the same place. This is not what we would like to see in AMP block. AMP block must be close to each other. And we had the question, how close? Short distance. We want to see them as a unit. And the most important here in this AMP block will be synchronization. They can use different orientation. They can change the formation. This is possible. And we want to see this because then we go to space and it will not be excellent. They have to change the spot in the formation. But we want them to be as a unit close to each other. And we have example first for AMP sets with quality, because we are talking about technically and correctly perform AMP sequences. So this is with quality of AMP sequences. We don't speak about blocks here. So these examples are only for AMP sets with quality. Now, another set without quality, and you have to look at the arms if it doesn't jump the clips, I hope. Simple arms movements. And here, no basic steps. Choreographic jumps. And here you cannot recognize the steps. So we speak about the quality of AMP, and we said AMP sequences are combination of steps and arms movement. The first two examples were with correct technique and quality of sequences. Then we had example with simple arms, so with not correct technique. And the last one, even you cannot recognize the steps, the basic step. So these are the quality which we are looking for. Now, for AMP block examples, only examples for AMP block for mixed pair trio group, same steps, and they are close to each other. Trio. And group. So don't tell me these are not AMP because they don't use the arms. We asked them and they didn't have time. They didn't do the arms. Of course, in our block, we would like to see in the routines, steps and arms with arms movement. And they don't have to come straight forward. These are only examples. So they can go from one corner to another. They have to change the formation. And I would like to tell you, if you read the basic steps in our basic steps in Appendix 3, you can see the kick, high leg kick. Okay, let's continue. Clear AMP block and examples we used to have before. So they used basic steps, they changed the formations, and they were close to each other. This kind of AMP block we would like to see in the routines to bring back the essence of our sport and to look beautiful as a synchronized mixed pair trio group. Synchronization, very important.